Well, Roger Koppel is the editor of the Die Welt newspaper in Germany, which reprinted the cartoons on its front pages. He joins us from Berlin, and Asghar Bukhari is the chief executive of the Muslim Public Affairs Committee, and he's in our central London studios. Roger Koppel, let me come to you first. You knew that these images would cause offence. Yes, we've got the right to free speech, but why cause offence?
Well, we didn't want to cause offence. We actually printed those pictures 3 times. The last time on the front page because events escalated in Denmark and in other countries. I mean, the point is it has become a huge political matter, and I think our readers have a right to see what exactly are the images that lead to death threats, boycotts, and the withdrawal of ambassadors in a Western country.
Asghar Bukhari, isn't it possible that people have gone over the tops about some rather poor cartoons that appeared in a Danish newspaper?
I find it shocking that the previous speaker was saying that he didn't know it was going to cause offence. He's saying basically the images of the Prophet as a terrorist, and thus saying that Muslims right around the world are following a terrorist. Other images portray the Prophet as a bigot who is going to kill people because they've looked at women. To say that it's not going to cause offence is pretty outrageous, and to have the cheek to then go on and say that it's about freedom of speech and trying to fight for some higher ideals that Muslims simply can't understand because we're obviously crazed fanatics is ridiculous.
But Asghar Bukhari, I mean, we've had in this country, Jerry Springer the musical, where Jesus is depicted as wearing a nappy, and some people have found it offensive. But there was a free speech issue there where you could do these sort of things.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This isn't about just being satirical. This is, in this current day and age, in a geopolitical situation around the world, where Muslims feel or are being attacked, feel very angry about what's going on foreign policy-wise, and then see that their very prophet is being demonised, and thus all of us are being demonised as characterised as all terrorists or followers of terrorists. It's absolutely unbelievable that this could have happened. And to understand the demonisation, I would have thought that someone from Germany would understand the danger of these type of images to escalate in the current environment. Haven't you learnt a lesson from the past?
Well, Roger Koppel, let me put that to you. I mean, you've heard what Asghar Bukhari has said to you.
I mean, the point that is at stake here is what are actually the moral standards that are valid in a Western open society. And I think it's a part of our society to subject even religious topics and political topics to criticism and to satire. I think that these caricatures didn't go over the top, and I think the Muslims have to accept that we are a society that even has a critical stand towards religious issues. And it's a fact that the religion of Islam is also used by militant Muslims to attack the Western world. And this is something that these caricatures, you might disagree with them, bring to view.
Asghar Bukhari, let me just put to you the quote, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, of the French philosopher Voltaire. "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it."
I agree. Now look, it's very, very interesting. It must be cleared right from the start. This is not about debate. Any person within Europe, around the world, can criticise Islam and say, this is what I disagree about Islam, this is what I agree about the Prophet, and we will take it on the chin and we'll say thank you very much for that, and this is the counter-argument to it. This is not about that, although I'm sure that many of the papers would like to spin it as that. This is completely separate. This is about demonisation. When you take a people and you say, this is what they're like, they're all terrorists, they're all extremists, they're all fundamentalists, and look, their Prophet's one as well, right? And you say, oh look, we're only joking. Well, sorry. In this day and age, that's no longer funny. We are being persecuted right around the world. Many Muslims feel that, they're being demonised. And if you want to talk about, Western values, well, there's no country in the world right now that has complete freedom of speech. There's no such thing as freedom to hate. Your freedoms should not impact on my freedoms. I shouldn't be able to walk down the street and be insulted, or like many Muslims are in Britain and throughout Europe, simply because they're Muslims.
You've made your point very clearly. Let me put that to Roger Koppel, because isn't it there a critical point here that it's one thing to have freedom of speech. It's what is the freedom to cause